Yeah? Are we live? Look at that. Yeah, I think we're like 17 seconds in. Cool. Oh man, we're back. We're back. Got some people coming in. I feel like it's been a while.
It has been a while.
Yeah?
Almost a month,
You've
maybe.
been doing okay?
Yeah, not too bad, you know.
Kind of here, kind of there.
Yeah.
Cool, fish a little bit. Playing some golf, right?
A little bit of golf here recently.
A little bit of golf.
Yeah, switching it up.
You got to.
You know, fishing's awesome, but good change every once in a while is fun.
Yes. Well, you know, we're in Florida, so it's
Yeah.
it's our national pastime, golf and fishing, and it's been fantastic. So cool. Got some people coming in. I see some, hey, how you doing? Got Ricky's in, Ken's in, Juan's in, and we're back. So what are we going to do tonight?
We are going to be talking about guides, guide selection, picking out your guides,
Right?
prepping your guides before you wrap them.
Yeah. How to get some spacing set up, how to choose what guide is kind of the best guide for your application.
Yeah.
You know, do you need regular frames? Do you need highs? Do you need lows? What ring? You know? So we're going to kind of got a lot of great questions that had come in on, I think, Guffey, we did some blog. We put some stuff on social media, and some people were asking some questions. So we've got some of those up. We did a little research on some stuff to help you guys out, guys and girls, of course.
We got some new CRB guides we're going to talk about.
Got the new LZRs.
LZRs.
Yeah, I've been putting those to the test. It's been good. It's been real good. We've been catching them redfish and trout inshore, so purposely not rinsing them off, and you know, using some braid and having some drag zinging. So,
Yeah.
cool. Well, what do you say we get this thing going?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
There is nothing wrong with your television set. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission.
Love the intro.
And we're back.
It's so good. And we're back. So good. All right. So, as we had said before, for those who are just making it in, we are doing guides.
All about
Guides. So, we are going to be doing, start it off, we're going to be doing a giveaway. So, the giveaway, as usual, we'll do a little like, we'll do a little share, and it's going to be these new LZRs here. Whoop. So we do not have the kits live yet, and that's kind of why we're going to give those away. So I've got a kind of a guide train here that I've set up on this inshore rod. This is one of our IS 701Ls. You'll notice it's that really, really nice blue color. It's the LBL color. Had a lot of questions about this thread. This is regular nylon 434 Pro Wrap. I don't remember the exact color of that. Is it like aqua or Maui Surf?
Yeah.
Ooh, Maui Surf, so fresh. So that's 434 regular nylon. This is the IS blank. Got some cool blue metallic decals. You guys will see those upside down, but they are pretty cool. That is, you know, something that you guys can do. You can order that through our custom decal stuff, and that's that blue, kind of metallic blue chrome. I don't know exactly what it's called, but kind of you can see it pop in the light. But anyway, like and share for the giveaway, the LZRs. We're going to put a kit together, and what we'll do is we'll reach out to you and say, you know, what are you wanting to do? What rod, what, you know, reel, or how you want it set up. So these I kind of have set up into a rapid reduction, and I know that can be a touchy subject with people. So we're going to talk about stuff like that tonight. We're going to talk about rapid reductions. We're going to talk about Kona flights. We're going to talk about all that kind of stuff. We're going to answer questions, and you know, we're not we're not taking hard stances on anything, on whether this one is right or whether that one is right. But there are some things that will help benefit builders and anglers, whether they're using braid or mono or how they're fishing. But, you know, again, there's not a whole lot of things that are right or wrong because it's custom.
Yeah, and you can make your layout, you know, honestly, obviously the guides have, over the years, since, you know, dating back to, gosh, 60s, 70s, guides have come a long way. Not just frames, but, you know, ring materials. They've been able to make the ceramic ring harder. So,
Right.
you know, any kind of braid that you're using these days, honestly, across the board, any ring will hold up to braid.
Yeah.
There's no ring out there nowadays that will not hold up to braid over time. Now, there are rings that are better.
Right.
You know, say
Right.
a Fuji SIC or a Torzite or American Tackle Nanolite. Those rings are harder material.
Sure.
So they're going to be a little less, I hate to use abrasive, you know, but abrasive on your line over time.
Right.
As compared to maybe a Howlite or a Howley or
Yeah.
something along those lines.
But yeah, anything that's sold new today is pretty, I guess they say braid safe or braid proof or super line proof or,
Yeah.
you know, any of that stuff. I mean, maybe, you know, maybe some stuff from the 90s and 80s if your granddad or dad or somebody's got a rod that's in the corner, you know, that one might have an issue with some braid. If you're really, really just getting, you know, drag pulled hard or some things like that, you might get grooved with it. But, you know, we get that question a lot. You know, what's the best guide for braid or what's the best guide for that? And, you know, honestly, any of the stuff is pretty much braid proof, you know, to an extent. I mean, you can't just hook it up to the bumper of a Chevy SS and, you know, run off, you know, 2,000 yards of hard braid through some of this stuff. But I mean, yeah, really, you pretty much could.
Yeah, you almost
So,
could, yeah.
It's everything is pretty much braid proof, you know. So yeah, we will do a like and share on that. And you know what? We'll do it live. We're gonna do it live.
End of the show?
We're gonna announce it live. We'll do it at the end of the show. And you know, we might even do one tomorrow too.
Okay.
Why not? They're new. They're cool. I like them. We need to get them out there. So stick around, like and share this, and you know, as they say, we'll just do it live.
Yeah.
Cool.
Perfect. So you want to talk about, what do you do first? We got a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
that we
Why
can
don't
answer.
we jump through some questions here? We'll do that real quick. Let everybody kind of get settled in. Dwight's got a question. How do you calculate the spacing of the guides on a rod? How many guides on a 7-foot rod? So you're going to have to sort of go about it in a manner that your dad likes to call the flex point.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you've got the blank, that's a really, really helpful way to go about it. If you don't have the blank, and whether it's spinning or whether it's casting, I'd probably just buy anywhere from 10 to 12 guides. And then, you know, add on runners, because somewhere in that range in a 7-foot rod, I want to say that this spinning rod with the new LZRs has 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. It's got 10 in a tip top. This is a 7-foot semi-rapid reduction, got runners. This is a 25, a 12, and I think a 6. That's a 6, and then 5s and runners. So, you know, the good thing is you can buy those 3 or 4 or 5 guides in your transition. The rest are going to be size 5 runners or whatever runners that you want. I've got 10 on here this is a 701L. So for the flex of this rod, and of course the spinning rod is not as sensitive to the amount of guides because all your guides are on the bottom.
Right.
So, you know, anywhere from 10 to 12 will probably suffice. This is our 7-foot MB843. This is the MHX Tournament Series. Why don't you grab on that? We'll tell them about kind of the flex point. So as you can kind of see here, there's a point up in this flex where you're going to find a peak, okay? So either that one here or that one out there, you know, depending on how you want to load this rod up and whatever. You know, we always try not to get past 90. So you've got a flex point out here, and then what we would do is you mark it there, mark your flex point, and then mark the distance going out, okay? So you can pretty much be safe with anywhere from 2 3/4 to 3 inches on that first guide. Because keep in mind, from that flex point to the rod tip, you're going to probably have a straight line or almost a straight line. So in here is where you're going to get where that line might dip below the blank, which is what you don't want to have happen. But pretty much in those last couple guides, if you've ever seen like those really cool hook set photos that you see on Bassmaster or anything, the last 3 or 4 guides on that rod are in a straight line, you know? So there's really no reason to have that guide way out there in the tip. You can probably, you know, have it anywhere from 2 3/4 to 3, 2 5/8 even at times, you know, depending on, but so I would mark where the flex point was, like I showed you, then figure out that distance. You've got that distance, and then you're going to fill those guides in kind of in a, depending on which way you're working, kind of an ascending or descending order. You know, if you've got 3 inches from the last guide to the tip, then the next one in can be equal, or it can maybe be like 3 1/8 or 3 1/4, or, you know, kind of whatever fits in that range. So then you've got the tip section squared away. So then you've got your flex point there, and then what we do is we set the reel in the reel seat, because you figured out your handle length, which is important to you. That is something that is unique to how you build it. So again, what we're doing when we're getting guide spacing, and this is on any blank, you know, we're trying to figure out where your flex point is on that blank. That's going to be kind of a set point. Then we're going to figure out your handle length, because that's going to be unique to you. So once you have that, and I'm talking about a casting rod, we're going to come up from the reel out here to this first stripper guide, you know, anywhere from 21 to 23, depending on how you fish and how big that guide is and some of that. But being in that 20 to 23 range is pretty safe. Most of mine are usually like 21. So then what you can do is you can find your butt guide, and then now you've got your butt guide is set, and then you've got your transition guide out there. And, you know, fill in, you'll have 3 or 4 guys up there in the front. Did I say guys? I meant guides.
Guides.
So you're going to have 3 or 4 guides up there in the front. You've got this one here, and then you work your way out. And again, it's another one of those ascending, descending kind of thing, depending on which way you're working. You never want this one to be 7, this space to be 7, and then this space to be 8. Not only is it going to look terrible, it's also not going to be useful. So I know that's kind of a long answer on how many guides and how many you need to be set up, but those are the thought processes that we go through, when I go through, when he's going through, we're setting up kits and we're doing stuff like that. So now, after you have all of that done, okay, you want to tell them about the bands? We can talk about kind of flexing it.
A good thing to use if you guys have not yet. Of course, tape is a really popular option for, you know, attaching the guides to your rod before you actually wrap them on. But another thing we sell too, and this is just a cut off small piece of what we call guide tubing. So it basically kind of looks like the air hose that you see like in a fish tank.
Yeah.
We sell it in, you know, 3 or 4 different sizes.
Mm-hmm. GT dash.
GT dash. And the guys will put a link up, I'm sure, for you. But what you do with this,
which is guide tubing,
is all you do is just cut it into small, what we like to call little donuts. And so let me cut a few off here and I'll show you guys. If you can see them. So let me get a close up on that, real close. So all it is just a circular little piece that you cut off. You get that in there close enough? Maybe? Yeah? And so all it does is, you know, you'll slide these down. I got a size too small. It's okay, we'll get it. You'll slide these down, starting from the tip towards the butt.
Yep.
Slide these down, and what it will do, it'll allow you to, you'll slip your guide foot underneath the guide tubing, and it'll, you know, keeps your guide in place. And this is also great when you're actually laying out your entire, you know, your guide system, because you can easily move these guides into place. You know, you can go outside in the backyard, you can do a couple test casts. If it doesn't feel right, you can move your butt guide around, a few guides around. Mm-hmm. It's also good for static deflection too.
Right.
Put your guides through the, or your line through the guides, get a static deflection, and you can see if you have any drastic angles, any sharp angles. Yeah, perfect right there.
Yeah, so just to kind of show you, we're not going to walk through the whole static deflection deal, but, you know, if we had these guides either taped or if you had them banded on here, this would be your static deflection. So you can put it in our CRB spine finder. That works great to put a rod in here. Put it on the track system. We'll get that link up to you. Either that, or you can stick it in the couch corner or something like that. Or you can actually just tie that section off to a corner and lift it up. Again, we're not bringing it past 90, but we're going to notice here, watch everything come through and make sure there's not too, sharp angles or anything like that. It's important on everything, to be honest with you, but it is, for me, it's super important on a casting rod just to make sure that you don't have an angle that is going to drop below the blank, where you get your line that's going to pass through the bottom of the blank there. So that's something that you want to try to avoid.
Yeah.
So,
and we do have the micro guide bands as well, which just come out with this year. So if you're doing, size 3, size 4s, these have a smaller inside diameter, so it allows you to get those smaller guides on there. I believe the smallest guide tubing we have is a little bit too big for the micro guide. So
yeah, GT0 is kind of just a little too big. So we've got these, and they actually come in a number of colors in the little pack, and you get quite a few in there. I mean, like
get a lot,
a bunch. So I know that took a little bit, Ricky, but thank you for that question. That was great. Aaron has got, how do you find the correct guides for a repair or replacement when the information on the rod may be little to none?
What I would generally do, and I'd say what most of our sales rep would recommend, is take a picture of the guide.
Yep.
Email, call into Mudhole, talk to a sales rep or a tech person there. Send them, they'll probably ask for a picture of the guide, they'll give you email address to send it to, and that's the easiest thing because explaining it over the phone sometimes can be difficult, especially if it's an older rod. But that's the best thing to do. Send a picture in, those guys will match it up, and that's
absolutely. I mean, with a picture, and if you can get a digital caliper, we've got them. Places like Harbor Freight's got them, Expensible tools. It's really not all that expensive, and it can save you a lot of headache. If you can get us a photo of the guide and you can get us a measurement, we can either match it or, sometimes there's guides that are made specifically for a manufacturer or for a rod that are not available to the public in any aftermarket situation. So we'll have to kind of match it as close as possible. To do that, though, you're going to want to take your guide and you're going to measure it with your digital caliper. Now, keep in mind, we're measuring the inside of this metal frame. So, some people think the inside diameter of this ceramic ring is what you measure, but it's not, and that will give you the incorrect measurement. Now, the good thing, usually when you damage a guide or you bust the ring out, you're left with no ring. Mm-hmm. Or just go ahead and finish busting the ring out if it's cracked. Then you measure the inside diameter of the frame and you're good. That's gonna kind of give you an extra little cheat to give you the right size. Otherwise, just measure the outside diameter of the ceramic ring, which is the inside diameter of the metal frame. That's gonna give you the measurement. It's gonna be 16 or 12 or 20 or something like that. Might be a little tiny bit off, and that's just for, errors in your caliper, errors in your thing. But get us a measurement on a digital caliper, take a photo, and we're very lucky here. We've got the knowledge that it takes from everybody that works here to get that guide figured out. Let's see. We got a few more questions. What do you want to do?
Let's do Doug. What's the best insert for mono braid line and why? So the best answer to this question for me would be, honestly, when you're picking out guides across the board, a couple things you want to look at is, one, your budget, because guides can range from, you can get a set for $10, or you can get a set for $200.
Absolutely. And like we spoke before, honestly, everything's pretty braid proof now.
Yeah, it is.
So, I would err on what's your budget first, how crazy you want to get, how light you want to be, what you're going to be fishing, If you're going to be beating the rod up a little bit, you might not want to get something that's so hard that it might fracture easier.
Right.
You know, things like
yeah,
that.
because the harder rings are actually a little more brittle. So, you know, if you are, you know, fishing around a jetty where you might be laying your rod down on rocks and stuff like that, I would probably, you know, maybe not opt for a Torzite ring or anything like that,
Right.
you know.
Right.
You kind of got to, you know, pick where you want to go. That's another thing too. Call in the mud hole.
Yeah.
They'll point you in the right direction of, you know, where your application is for your rod, what sizes you probably would need.
Yeah, they can walk you through it really, really good. And even if you're like, yeah, you know, I'm really just dying to have a Gunsmoke frame or something, you know, it can even be as simple as that and say, well, you know, these are your Gunsmoke options. If you're trying to match a color or you're trying to do something, you know, that's where either sending us an email or call into one of the techs and salespeople up front. That can really kind of hone you in on what you need there really quick.
Yep.
How about Marcos? I actually did some research for you, so I want to answer this question live because I am not the offshore expert, but I've got some information for you. So, and online too. All right, so Marcos says that he is building a pair of heavy bent butt rods. They're 130 to 200 class with rollers, and he wants some information on them. Those are some megas for sure.
Yeah.
A little bit more than I would use to punch mats. A little bit more.
Little bit.
So Marcos, all right, so the information is recommendations on the butt size, I would go with a number 4. And I'm just saying I is because I'm relaying this information. We would recommend a number 4. The reason is the number 4 butt, whether it's straight or it's bent, is the largest butt that will fit into a regular size rod holder. So they make them larger than a 4. I think there's a 6.
There's a 6.
Okay, so there's a 6. But the problem with a 6 is you might be sending this to a guy or you might be taking this on a boat. There are standard size rod holders. A size 6 is not going to fit in a standard size rod holder. And I'd hate to have to tote a rod like that all day long. That's just not going to work. So number 4 will fit that, and it will fit the common rod holders on a boat. You know, they're rated 80 to 130, but 130 to 200 is going to be good. The next question that we have for you is braid or mono. That's when we're picking your rollers. So if we're using braid with a wind on, we're going to recommend the AFCO HDs or the AFCO wind-ons. They've got 2 sets there. You know, they're going to allow for, you know, a little bit larger diameters, or they're going to allow for your wind-on to come in with the braid. So, you know, whereas you could get away with a smaller opening in those rollers, but then if you're bringing in a wind-on in, that's where you're going to either need the HDs or the wind-ons from AFCO. We'll get those links up. If you're doing straight mono, anywhere from 130 to 200. I don't know if y'all have seen 130-pound mono or 200-pound mono. Rope. It's rope. It's clear rope. So we're going to use the AFCO Bigfoots, or Winthrop makes what they call their Winthrop 80s. Those are some just big old guides. Got rollers in them, and you're going to need those. Also, this would be a good time to mention, on the AFCO stuff, we actually had one of our good buddies, Jesse Rudolph, send in some stuff. He's working on a first mate and a mate out of New Smyrna Beach. His boss now has got just a really killer big boat, and he's doing some stuff. They, you know, doing maintenance and things like that. We carry spare parts for AFCO rollers. So some guys are like, oh man, you know, we've been fishing hard and we lost the screw and the roller out of the tip top on a size 26 AFCO roller top. Well, you don't need to replace the whole roller. All you need is either, depending on what you lost, you know, we have an assembly, we have the roller, we have the screw, we've got everything that goes into that guide to complete it. You don't have to get a whole one. So guys, make sure we get up the link to the AFCO parts page, because that's pretty key. Also, with those sets, Marcos, all of the AFCO roller sets, they all come in 5 guide sets, which you're going to see here. So this is going to be your standard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 roller set. Anything that is a 5-footer to a 6-footer, we're going to say use a standard AFCO set. And when I say 5 to 6-footer, I'm talking from where your reel is forward. So we're counting just the blank, because anytime you're going to add in, your butt system here, that's going to make the rod that much longer. Usually, 18 inches longer or something, 2 feet, I don't know. So anything is going to be ahead of that. So when you're picking your blank, it's going to be before that. If you go to something like a 6.6 or a 7-foot blank, you can just buy the roller set. We can tell you which one this last 2 or 3 rollers are, and you just buy the extra matching. Just get you one extra, and then you'll have your 6th roller. So that's kind of how you set that up, and that's just what we recommend coming in. Of course, depending on what you've got, a lot of guys, I know a lot of South Florida guys when I used to live down there, they would run their AFCO roller, they'd run some turbos, and then they run their AFCO roller top. It's a pretty cool look. It's neat where, you've got this guide that's taking a lot of the load for, your roller guides, keeps your line wear down. You got your turbos that do a good job of being sturdy. And then, of course, the roller top minimizes your line wear on that stuff, too, depending on what you're doing. And, I always think that the wind-ons come in and out of a roller top easier than if you've got, like, a standard boat guide. But that's just my opinion on my limited use of wind-on heavy-duty stuff. So
Sounds like you know your stuff, though.
I don't know.
Or you did your homework.
Both, right? You either know it or you do your homework, and just keep rolling. What we got?
Okay, we'll just go ahead and dive into this one. So, Jeff, compare cone of flight method of guide spacing placement versus new guide concept, which most people call NGC, and easiest way to choose rod guide sizes for each based on reel and rod.
All right, let's get personal.
Okay, Jeff.
Put the gloves on.
How much time do we got here?
That's it. All right, let's get some opinions,
Okay,
start
so
flying.
We'll just go ahead and we'll do a brief little history of, I guess you could say, types of layouts for guides. So it all dates back to the cone of flight.
Yeah.
That's the original. So basically a spinning setup, you would go from 30, 25, 20, 16, 12, 10, 8. They usually stop at 8.
Just use them all. Use every size.
Every size, you're just going to gradually go down and hit every size, and you might end with a couple 8s, or maybe even a 6 sometimes.
Maybe.
So that was the most popular, type of layout for years and years and years. So then I guess you could say the new guide concept came out from Fuji.
Yep.
So basically they decided that why would you start with, a size 30 when you could probably get away with like a 25? So they stepped down the first size of the guide, and then instead of using, we'll say a 25, 20, 16, they cut out either a size or 2.
Right.
So they went from a 25 maybe to a 16 or even a 12.
Right.
And then, even down to maybe an 8.
Sure.
So instead of going size, 30, 25, 20, blah, 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 they've cut out sizes in between.
Yep.
Because it's really not necessary. You don't need to step down, that gradual, I guess you could say. You could do it more rapidly.
Right.
So the NGC, the concept system, was around for a while. So, but here in the past couple of years, or I'd say maybe, how long do you think it's been out, the KR system?
It's been a little bit.
8 years, maybe 10 years or so.
I don't, maybe somebody could give us a little more history lesson on that. But
so the KR concept from Fuji was released, and so it's even more of a rapid reduction, which most people call it.
Right.
They've also come out with high frames.
Right.
So you get the same height as we'll say a 30 or a 25, but now we're using a 20.
Well, see, and that was the bridge they crossed, because they went, well, do we really need a 30 ring?
Mm-hmm.
No, we can get away with a 20 ring, but then it wasn't tall enough to match the angle of the spinning reel.
Yep. So now we've done, we'll say a 20 high frame. We'll go down to maybe a size 12 high frame.
Right.
And then from there, we usually go down to 6. A 6
and a low
frame.
Right.
And then you can, take out your running guide. So basically, you're going.
So I'll turn this over, and we can, as we talk about it, because we have a 20 high to a 12 high to a 5.5 low, and then 5 runners out. Okay. So that's what Hunter's talking about. Where, as you were saying, what is this, a 30?
It's a 30.
All right. So this is a 30 that's giving the same height as a 20, and the only reason that you had to use a 30 is to get that height.
Right.
So now what they did is say, well, we don't need the diameter of the ring of a 30, but we want the height. So we're going to take it and we're going to have a 20 ring with a 30 height is about how it worked out.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So that's the, I guess the newest, you know.
Yeah. It's kind of the newest thing that is really helped it. Now, so people ask about how do we set this up. So the unique thing about this deal is it needs to be tailored to the reel that you're using and also the line that you're using. So in my opinion, the rapid reduction, with it being a 3-guide reduction, works best with braid. It corrals the line better. It gets it going out the end better. And that's with braid. Now, if you're using monofilament or you're using fluoro, those lines are a little bit stiffer. They're a little bit harder to kind of corral. And that's why you'll notice that we have some regular frames, we have some high frame kits on the website. And some people have asked us about this. So if you've never, dove into this whole setup and you don't know what you're going to be building, our high frame kits on the website are a great transition into going from just the original Kona Flight, it bridges the gap to the high frames, okay? Because it'll work with mono, it'll work with fluoro, it'll work with braid. As you then step farther into the deal, you can start to dial in a 3-guide rapid reduction. Fuji, at their website, Angler's Resource, they have their guide placement system, I think, GPS.
Yep.
That gets very technical, where you plug in the kind of reel that you have or the measurements, and then you get it all dialed in. That's very, very specialized. But again, that's why we build custom rods, and you can get, kind of from mild to wild. So on this one, if you notice, when you set this stuff up, I kind of dial this back here. Take this off. So what we've got is, you gotta hold it tight there for me. Okay, so with the line matching the center spool axis, we really want the line to reach middle, and then be out here at the choke point and then run out. So that's kind of how you get a rapid reduction. That's a very, very basic kind of explanation of your rapid reduction. But in a sense, we're trying to get these guides to get this line corralled and pinched down to the blank and out the end of the blank as quick as we can. So that is kind of the long and short of the rapid reduction. Hopefully this storm's not coming through too loud on.
I had to talk up just a little
I'm
bit.
gonna say, it hasn't rained here in like 10 days, and guess what? Here we are, Facebook Live, and it's pouring outside.
So yeah, that's
So what did I leave out? Did I leave anything out?
That's about as brief as you can probably explain a history of the guide layouts. But and of course, there's a microwave system too that American Tackle came out with a couple years ago.
Which is a rapid reduction.
Yes, it is.
And it's a great example.
It features 2 rings on the first guide. A lot of the same concepts are used there. You want to choke that line down, as fast as possible.
Right.
And get to your, what we call our first running guide,
Right.
which will either be your second or third guide in your guide train. You want to do that as fast as possible. You want to get to your smallest ring as fast as possible.
Exactly. And technically when you look at that microwave system, it's a high frame, smaller ring, to a high frame, smaller ring, to the smallest ring that's technically on a low frame or a lower frame that gets down to your running guide height and gets it out.
Yep.
So it's a very similar setup, and at that point it's just kind of what you prefer.
It really is. We get that question like, why would you pick microwaves over, the Fuji guides or CRB?
Yeah.
Personal preference, try one.
Yeah.
Try them all, honestly.
Yeah, and I will say, where you know, Fuji has different ring options. You know, Microwave has multiple ring options, and then they have the Airwave,
Right.
which is a no ring option. So, I mean, granted, there's still a ring in there, but it's not a ceramic insert. You know, it's, I don't know.
And the spacing comes in the bag of guides too, which is very, very helpful for most people.
That's excellent. And you know what they're going to do is they're going to give you the spacing from your ring down to your spool face, and then to the second one, to the choke guide, and you're good, you know? And then from there on out, they kind of give you, you know, what it kind of sort of should be, but from there on out on a spinning rod is pretty easy. You know, you can kind of just do what we explained earlier about the different descending spacing. So let me get Chris's here real quick on what handles are on the two rods with reels. So these are out of my skiff. I like the VSS setup. This is the split setup. We have this handle kit online. This is your VSS from Fuji. Then we incorporated the KSS hood, which gives you this cover here that covers the thread. So, like I said, we have all of these pieces individually. This is one of our FBCC, I think this is -7. Just our fighting butt. This is the VSS. You can actually buy this VSS body only. Then you match it with the grip. This rear right here is the option that has the composite on it. So that's got, there's 3. There's the composite, there's full cork, and then there's full EVA for this section. Then you can buy this piece individually, which is the threaded kind of hood cover here. Like I said, it's the KSS, I think /ASH, right?
I think so.
We'll get that up. Then the cover here, which is cork, it also comes in EVA, two-tone EVA, two-tone cork.
I believe it's BJS, no BG.
Yeah.
BGSK. I have to look. BGKS. BGKS.
Yeah, we'll get that link up.
Yeah.
Or if you don't want to fish through all these parts, we do have this as a handle setup. And we did that on purpose because we love this so much. We just said, we're just going to make it. Grip. Same setup, but in a full-length cork. So we don't have this in a handle kit, but we do have the full-length cork that fits the VSS, that then also fits the hood cover and everything. So these are both Fuji parts, where you get the reel seat. You can buy this, and this comes in both sizes, 16 and a 17. That's your full length, got your composite butt cap here, and then it's just, you know, your hand is never on any threads. It locks down nice. I'm a Shimano reel guy, I use the 2500s. It locks all the way down here. There's no exposure. If you're coming in and out of rod holders, the full length is nice because it doesn't catch on the fighting butt. Or if you just like to have a fighting butt because you like your logos or something on that. But yeah, that's what those are. We're all a big fan of that setup. We use it on pretty much all our stuff. So we actually have, so for those that like that handle and want to know more about that handle, I did a quick video of how to set that handle up and how to build that. That is on, it's on Facebook, it's on our YouTube too. So that'll kind of give you a walkthrough on exactly how to put all that stuff together. Did we even do a blog on it? We did a blog on it. Of course, Guffey's on top of the blog, son. Got it.
All right, you'll do a fast couple questions here.
Yep, hit them.
All right, let's see. Do you guys have a formula for a spiral or acid wrap guide train? Simple answer to that is no, but send us a message.
We'll get you one.
Call in. Tell us length of your rod.
Yeah.
Just any kind of info that you can share, and we can definitely help you out.
Yeah, there's just too many variables to just pull one out of the sky. Let's see. How important is tip top compared to the rod guides in regards to size, style? Todd, I would keep your tip top the same as your last running guide, or within a half. You know, sometimes Fuji gets weird where they'll make a 5 in a running guide, but the tip top's a 5.5. Whatever reason, I don't really know. But a lot of mine actually have that. I actually think this one has a 5 runner when I'm looking at it. It's got a 5 runner, but a 5.5 top.
It's a 0.5 millimeter.
Whatever, man. Yeah, 0.5 millimeter. So yeah, let's see. Ken, how do you know if you need a high frame or a low frame? That's going to be based on the height of your reel off the blank, either side. So as we were talking with earlier about getting your everything lined up, when you rotate your line to match the center axis of your reel, you're going to know if you need that high or a low frame. When you come off and match that and it comes out here and it bumps into your blank, this space right here is going to tell you, all these guys are going to tell you whether you need the low, the high, the medium, because a lot of the manufacturers have a high, a medium, and a low now. So that's going to be based on your reel height because you want to shoot through the middle of that guide. That's what's going to tell you whether you need it. And same with, we've got one of the really, really killer Victor Joseph plug specials here where he does all this stuff. You can see he's got the Fujis in here, the double-footed K. We'd have a spinning reel here. Imagine that spinning reel coming down, and it's going to do kind of a semi-rapid reduction. This is kind of a mix between a rapid and a Kona flight as he comes down. But remember, this angle here needs to match the spool angle of the spinning reel. So imagine, Guffey, on this guide here, imagine that angle of that face is meeting the angle of your spinning reel face, because your spinning reel face is going to be kicked towards your rod blank, and it's going to filter back down this way. Match that face with that face, let that line shoot through the center of it as it comes down. That's going to help you pick your guides and decide if you need a high or a low. What else we got?
So we are getting a lot of questions about ring types.
Yeah.
It's like we said earlier, there's a huge range and a huge, price difference between different ring materials. So basically, just to make it, real easy. So this is your standard, I believe this is a HLGSF from American Tackle. This is what they refer to as their halide ring. Very, very popular ring. It's, cost effective, very, very durable.
Yep, been around for years. It's one of those kind of proven guides.
Yeah. So you'll notice the ring on this guide is significantly bigger, as we'll say compared to one of our new CRB guides, which this is the LZR ring.
Yep.
So basically, the ring in this LCR is a lot harder, which allows them to make the ring a lot thinner.
Yep.
So, what this is going to give you is, this is going to give you a lot of weight savings. It's going to be a lot less weight.
Right.
But they are a lot, a little more expensive.
Yeah. Now, the LZR also is going to give you a little more height, too.
A little more height, yeah.
So it's not necessarily a pure, true high frame, but in the video that we did that kind of prefaced this show and talked about the LZRs, you do get a little more height out of the LZR that you would get out of a standard, a regular 30. Like I said, not quite as high, but on this rod here, where if it was a true high frame, I would have used a 20. This is actually a 25, and it gives me the same height. But the great thing about it is, because of that new, really, really, really thin ring, ultra thin ring, I can use the 25, and I'm not gaining any weight as opposed to a standard, Alkanite Fuji that has a 20. So, a lot of people think that the diameter of the frame and all that is where the weight's at. It's in that ceramic.
Right.
That ceramic is where you're going to get a lot of weight. So, got to be careful. Yeah, it's a 25, but the ceramic is so much thinner and it's harder and it's lighter than a 20. I can use the 25.
Right.
And not get swamped in weight. And then, of course, the very next guide was a 12, which in a Fuji high frame, I would have gone to a high 12.
Yeah.
So it's the same there. So that's you know, that's where some of that new technology comes in and is really kind of making everything better, especially with those new LZRs. Ray, are the high frames more susceptible to getting bent? You know, they're not, to me. We've used them in the skiff. We've used them on the front deck of the bass boat. Keep in mind, we're using the high frame to get the height that we would have had to have used a 30. So the 30 and the 20 are the same height. So to get the same performance, or I would say the high frame is still going to give you a better performance because it's a tighter ring, but you know, it's not going to be any higher than the guide you really should be using anyway. So we can just use a high frame 20, whereas before in the old school, we'd have to use a 30 to match the proper angle and to get the proper distance and all that stuff. So you're really not dealing with any higher height. We're just using a smaller ring with the same height.
Yep.
So it's just giving you better performance. But when you look at the height of the 20 and the height of a 30 standard, it's the same. So yeah.
Tony, why are wire guides or guides without inserts more popular? Less likely to break? No, yes. You are correct. Honestly, if you don't have a ceramic ring, you can't break it. So that's a gimme there. More popular? I would probably disagree with you there because I don't think they're more popular. You are seeing them on more rods recently, and they are a more inexpensive option, I guess you could say. So for manufacturers, that's one of their biggest goals. And I hate to say that, but
yeah,
I'm
thinking that might help bring their warranty cost down or something.
Yeah, and
I don't know.
It's hard to say. I don't think they're more popular though. I mean, you'll see. I mean, look at all of our rods. They're all ceramic ring guides. There's nothing wrong with a ring or a minima style or an airwave spinning guide. It's another personal preference thing. A lot of these questions just come down to: have you used it before? Do you like it? Keep using it. If you like ceramic ring guides, keep using them.
Right.
It's hard for us to pick something for you guys. You kind of got to figure that out on your own sometime.
Yeah. Ron's got a question. We get this a lot. We really get this question a lot. He said he's had some rings come out of guides, and can they be epoxied back in if the guide is not broken? Unfortunately, they cannot. I mean, you could probably glue it back in, but it's going to come out, a heck of a lot easier than it did that first time, because all of these ceramic rings, where they do have an ultra thin epoxy bond, they're actually physically pressed into that frame. It's not just a situation where you can just line it back up and epoxy it or put some super glue on it and do it. Maybe would it get you through the last hour of your day fishing? Maybe.
Yeah.
It might, but it's going to come out again and again and again. And of course, every time, it's just going to come out that much easier. It's not going to maintain the same strength that it did from the factory. So you really just need to replace that guide. So again, let's like and share this, everybody. And we are going to announce it at the end. We're going to announce, let's pick another winner. We'll do 2 winners. And we're going to give you an LZR guide set, which are not even out yet. We do have the single LZRs, and CRB guides are 25% off. So that's a big thing. A big thing.
Big.
So we'll put up that link to that page that you guys can check out after. That's going to be, how late's that sale going?
Thursday?
Midnight.
Thursday midnight.
Thursday midnight, 25% off. All those individual CRB guides. So if you want to build you out a set of the LZRs, now grab them at 25% off, or just like and share this. We'll get you to win one.
All right, I'll hit one question and you get the next one. So can you please just explain static testing? Okay, so we'll go that real quick if you want to get a rod in motion here. So basically a static, a test, or what we call a deflection most of the time, is when you're putting your guides on your rod, whether it's with tape or guide tubing. Basically, you want to put a bend in the rod. And like Chris said earlier, a CRB spine finder is absolutely perfect, especially if you don't have another person standing there to hold the rod. So what it does is it's going to allow you when you put the line through the guides, it's going to allow you to see these angles. And what you want to look for is these sharp or drastic angles in this line flow. And if you do, you need to either add a guide or make an adjustment, either move a guide forward, move it back, and that's going to allow you to get an even flow of your line through the guides all the way out to the tip.
Yep.
So that's just a brief. You got anything to add to that?
No. And with a spinning rod, it's a little bit easier to deal with. With a casting rod, you just want to make sure that your line's not laying on the blank or crossing below the plane, things like that. Whereas he was saying on a spinning rod, you just don't want real sharp angles out there. You can add a guide or two, and that'll help everything come out. So.
And on a casting rod, like you said earlier, you don't want the line to go below the blank or even touch the blank.
Yeah, you don't want it to just lay on that blank real bad, because it's going to really kind of hinder your performance. So, whoop, got this hung up. All right, the next one, I think you were leaving this one for me, if I'm not not wrong here. Ricky is going to build a Sage X 4-piece, 9-footer, 5-weight. Ricky, the best thing about that is Sage provides the guide size and the guide spacing. On their website, you can go to sageflyfish.com, go to the bottom, there's a little tab that says Rod Building, click on that. You go in and you select your rod family, which would be Sage X. You would then select 9-foot 5-weight. What it's going to do is it's going to say Guide 1, Guide 2, Guide 3, Guide 4. Then it's going to say, if I'm not mistaken, on that Sage X, it's probably going to recommend a size 12 as your first stripper guide. It'll probably like a 12, and then it'll drop down to your snake guides and go a 4, a 3, a 2, and then some 1s and maybe some 1-0s, something like that. So what I would do, if it was me, I'd go to Sage Flyfish, go to Rod Building, Sage X 9-foot, 5-weight. I'm going to choose, depending on what color scheme you're going to want to do, I would use, a Fuji polished double-footed LN frame. So that's going to be a CLNAG. So that is, C for chrome, LN frame, CLNA for alkanite, and G for guide. CLNAG, that's going to probably, like I said, be a 12 if I had to guess. Then what you're going to want to do is, for me, I like the Snake brand Eco guides. Let's put a link up. Taylor can get it up there. The Snake branded snake guides. They're made here in the United States. The feet on those guides literally do not need to be touched, and they actually have a concave foot, so they lay right down on the blank. They're absolutely perfect. They're the Snake branded Eco coated. Run that out, and Snake makes also a matching tip top. So I would do that. I would do Fuji CLNAG is polished, then the Snake Eco Coateds on out. Sage will give you the exact sizing that they put on their factory built rods, and I trust them.
Yeah.
So been a big Sage guy for a long time. What they're going to do on that rod, they're going to do the length of the rod, which is 9 feet plus 1, 10 total guides plus tip top. That's pretty standard for a fly rod. So a 9-footer is going to have 10 guides on it. So
let's see, Bill.
Wanna do Bill?
Yeah, and guys, if we could, there's something on the screen on that first question. If we could knock that off there.
Yep.
Bill, micro guides versus larger guides on a bass rod. Okay, so basically for my bass rods, casting bass rods, I have 2 layouts. I go with a micro layout, typically on my flipping rods, and then more of a, I guess you could say, a concept style system on pretty much anything else that I'll be casting with.
right.
So I'll usually start with like a 6 double foot.
Yep.
I'll go to a 5 fly guide, single foot fly guide, and then I'll use those 5s all the way out.
Absolutely.
If I'm gonna do a micro setup, usually I'll start with sometimes like a 5 or a 6 single foot fly guide.
Yep.
And then I'll run 4s all the way out.
Right.
But that's just on my flipping sticks.
Right.
Because I'm only using braid on those.
Yep.
The reason I use typically a little bit larger running guide, like a 5, on the rods that actually we'll be casting with, whether it be like a jig or a worm, is because sometimes I'll be using fluorocarbon, sometimes I'll use braid. I'm not a big fan of the micro guides with fluorocarbon. I feel like it's just, I don't get as much performance.
Sure.
But if I step up to that 5 or maybe even a 6 size running guide,
Yeah.
you know, fluorocarbon, like Chris said earlier, it's less acceptable to, you know, running straight through your guides. You know, it tends to have those coils, so I like a little bit larger ring to kind of compensate for that fluorocarbon.
Yeah, and when we say a little bit larger ring, we're talking 5s, okay? You know, we're not talking 7s and 8s and all that that you see on a lot of your old rods. You know, that there really wasn't a 5 for a while. They had micros, and then they had 6s and 7s and 8s and stuff like that. The 5, I mean, you know, we've built a lot, tested a lot. You know, using on a regular casting rod the double-footed 6 and then 5s all the way out is not only easy, you know, you don't have to have a ton of guides on hand for repairs, but in all reality, it's, I mean, for all the ones that we've used, whether it's braid or fluoro or mono, if you're using a devil's horse or something, you know, the performance is kind of the best of the both worlds there. You know, it's not micro, but it's not big, and you know, the size 5s are where it's at for sure. Now, again, you know, we actually built a number when we were prototyping the FP series. We built a couple of them with size 5s, and we built a couple of them with size 4s. And you'd be surprised at how less, when you're actually flipping and pitching in mats, and you're actually, you know, pendulum swinging that big weight back and forth. I couldn't believe how just from going a size 5 to a 4, you don't get hung on a guide like halfway up. So, and what I mean by that is, you know, if you either string and flip like that, or you're actually reeling up and just doing a pendulum flip, you know, if you do it and that line comes to you and swings away and it gets too close to the blank, it's gonna hang on one of those guides. It's amazing how little the 4s get hung up compared to the 5. And I know it's just, I mean, it's such a fraction of the difference, but go to the 4. I think you'll be happy with the 4. The 3's too small. I think the 3's kind of ridiculous, but go to the 4. You'd be surprised at how good that is on your flipping rod, whereas like keeping with the 5s on the other ones. So what's the best frame material?
Best frame material, I mean, just overall period, is titanium. Obviously, you know, it's going to be more expensive, but if you are fishing saltwater, if you're not so good with your equipment and maybe don't wash it off as often, titanium is the way to go, especially. Just, you know, do the upgrade. Titanium does not rust, you know, period.
Right.
So you're not going to have to worry about that down the road at all. And also, you know, titanium, especially Fuji titanium, only comes in SIC or Torzite rings.
Yeah.
So not only are you getting a great frame, but you're also getting a really good grade ring material.
Yeah.
So across the board, if you're only fishing, you know, freshwater, it's hard to go wrong with just a stainless ring.
Yep.
You know, like a CRB Performance guide, or even, you know, a Fuji Alkanite, American Tackle Duralite. Those are all great, not only great guides, but their price is very reasonable too.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, you say Torzite. You know, speaking of that Torzite stuff, with the new LZR stuff, I really think didn't we measure? This is the thinnest ring outside of the Torzite ring?
Oh yeah, by far.
Okay.
By
yeah,
far.
I thought so. So the new LZR is going to give you the thinnest ring outside of Torzite. The cool thing is, let's see. All right, so this is Gunsmoke. Give me a black one. Yeah.
Black double foot.
So this black double foot is your medium duty guide. So we have them in an MD, and you'll see that on there. The LZRs do come in an MD as well. That's your polished MD right there. So we've got black, polished, and in Gunsmoke. And we have matching tip tops, not only for the medium duty tops, but we also have the light duty top. Of course, your standard double-footed casting. That's in your LZRs as well. And then I think Guffey got to zoom in on our single-footed runners. That's the single-foot runner in Gunsmoke. The one right there is a 6, and then this next one down is a 5. So they are really, really nice. I like them. And The Gunsmoke's just cool.
It really is.
I like it. You know, it's not like real flashy, but it's not black, but it's not, you know, it's, I don't know, it's really nice.
Yeah. It's got a matte sort of finish to it, so like you said, it's just stands out well.
All right, we're getting ready to, we're kind of near the end of the show here. Let's go ahead and announce them. What do you think?
Let's do it.
What do you think? Go ahead.
So our first winner for the set of LZR guides, Eric Runge. Hopefully I said that right, Eric.
Hopefully. That's why I had you announce the first one.
Thanks. You got an easy one next.
Yeah, I did. I got an easy one. So Eric Runge is the first one. And we're going to go with Aaron Robinson. Aaron Robinson. Aaron Robinson, congratulations, you guys. Shoot us an email. You can either send it, well, you know what? Since you're on Facebook, go ahead and just message it right into Facebook. Let us know your email address so that we can get you in the system. Make sure you're getting updates on your order when we put it in, then that way you'll be able to follow it through as it goes through the system. And also, we'll need your mailing address so that we can send that stuff to you. That's also a good way for us to check to see if you have an account in the system, and if you do, we're not doubling up your accounts. So, again, Eric Runge and Aaron Robinson for the win. For the win. We'll probably pick one tomorrow too. So I like.
Might as well.
I like shopping.
Why not?
I like shopping. So probably shop them around tomorrow. So I think, is that about all the questions? I know we got a lot of activity. We really appreciate all that. Let's see, anything? Guys been flying through. Bob said he's been having mostly CRB guides and he loves them. Cool. Good deal. What else you got? Do you have anything else?
Any little quick tips?
Hey, what about that Renzetti thing?
Yeah, so we do have this pretty cool little gadget here, I guess you could call it.
Yeah,
so
Renzetti makes this thing.
So this is a guide grinder tool. So out of the package, you're going to get the parts you're actually going to hold on to. You're going to get this cool little gold screw, and then this packet of, we'll call them spacers. So what you can do is, what this allows you to do, I believe this is guides from size 25 down to even like snake guides, like down to ones,
yeah,
I believe,
all
super
right.
small.
Cool.
So what you can do, these spacers, we'll take, give me that guy right there.
Think that guy will work?
So what you'll do is, you're going to put a spacer on both sides of the guide ring. So basically just sandwich the guide ring in between, right? Take your screw, go through each hole and through the guide ring. You're going to take this screw, put it onto the tool, tighten it down. I'm just going to hand tighten it, but obviously I would take a screwdriver and get a little bit of, just tighten it down a little bit more. So what this allows you to do, so now your hand's free from the guide, and you either take, sandpaper, or if you've got like a sand belt, or what was it called?
Get a Dremel tool.
Dremel tool, perfect.
The best $40 I've ever spent in my whole life on rod building.
And not just rod building, just
Oh yeah, we use it all the time.
house.
Cutting stuff off that we screw up or something. Yeah.
So it allows you just to go in with sandpaper, Dremel tool, anything you got, touch up these guide feet. Because some of the guides come prepped, pre-ground, and some don't. And even if they do come prepped, sometimes the paint or the finish can build up on it, and so it allows you to go in there hands-free and just touch up these guide feet. That way, when you do go to wrap, you're not frustrated because the thread won't go up the guide foot, anything like that. So
yeah,
pretty cool little tool.
Pretty sweet.
I'm sure the guys will drop a link in there.
Yeah. Gav, you want to try to get in there and see how good the new LZR's feet are? I would say like real good. So yeah, did it get it? Yep, all right, cool. Oh yeah, came into focus there. Very nice, very nice. Well, cool. I think that's about it. We're at about an hour and 4 minutes, so That's about, how do we hit it like that every time?
Every time.
Yeah, we have a huge countdown clock in here.
Yeah,
They're like,
it's about to go off, so we gotta go.
gotta get it out of here. But, you know, we made sure that we put the show during a major thunderstorm outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, big shout out to the internet company for keeping us alive, getting it rolling. So, all right, are we good? Are we good? Anything else? Anything else? I don't really see anything else.
Last chance.
Yeah, last chance. Remember, the sale, 25% off CRB guides.
Individual, not the sets.
Individual, yep, absolutely. We will have the sets coming soon, and they're gonna be good. They're gonna be real good. And yeah, so what we will do, I know we had a couple people come in on spacing ice guides. I think we're gonna do a little sidebar from that. What I'll do is I will help you guys put one together. We are updating our ice kits with the new CRB guides. And what I'll do is I'll do a special segment just for the ice people. And we'll come back into the basement. It'll be a quick clip. And we'll make sure you guys get to see that. And then you can refer back to it when you need it. That way we can talk about, you know, sizing, length, things like that. Because, you know, we've got fiberglass ones, we've got the tubular ice blanks, we got them in like from 42 inches down to like 8 inches.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big, you know, that's a big break. That's not just as easy as, you know, taking and being like, oh yeah, I want to, you know, the MB843, I throw a lot of top water, you know, like a spook or something. Like, that's not as easy just to line it up. So I'll do the ice rod spacing. We'll get that up, especially for you guys. And see, that's how we come up with these little videos.
Well, for some people, ice fishing is coming up soon.
Dude, I hear it's the deal. I mean, you know.
I'll take their word for it.
I'll take your word for it, too. So, awesome. Well, again, we really appreciate everybody watching. And like and share for those that didn't win it tonight. I'm going to make Hunter shop tomorrow, and we'll pick another winner. So, that's just how good those LZRs are. I fished them. I know. We're good. All right.
I think that's it.
So we'll see you maybe next month. Is that what we're doing? 4 weeks from now. We will pick it up as it gets closer and closer to the end of the year because we're going to be introducing some new products. And I know that a lot of people build more rods probably coming up soon. We got Christmas presents. We got stuff like that. Right. So keep those questions coming, and you know, we'll do a small little video just like on the ice spacing. We'll pick out a topic and we'll make it happen.
Awesome. Thanks for watching.
Appreciate it. We'll see y'all next time.